Here we learn transportation in plants. We have early learnt about photosynthesis. We have learned how plants take in carbon dioxide from the air and photosynthesize them into food with the help of sunlight. It also sometimes takes in oxygen at night for its respiration. But besides carbon dioxide and oxygen, plants also require other material. They require minerals, they require water and other materials. Now all these materials they take from the soil. So here you can see in the picture there are these drops of water, and through these drops of water enter into the tree with the help of the roots, and together with that many of this material, many of these minerals also enter the water. Together with the minerals enter the plant through the root by a process of diffusion. We have already learned by the process of diffusion. But however, diffusion is not sufficient. Diffusion is a slow process. And if the plant depends only on diffusion for its transport, what would happen if the cells up here, there are cells up here that would want water, and if they depended on diffusion, diffusion is a slow process and it would take hours for it to reach, the water would take hours to reach up here into these leaves. So the plant has got a transport system. It cannot depend only on diffusion. It has to have its own transport system, and that transport system we are going to study today. The water of course enters the plant in the roots by the process of diffusion. Here you'll have by diffusion it enters, but then it has to climb up, and to climb up into the tree, into the leaves, into the topmost leaves, there is a transport system. Another point we need to know is plants. We're going to compare the transport system of plants and animals. Now plants require less energy. Their energy needs are low. Energy need is low. And why is it low? Number one, they are mainly made up of dead cells. The plants have got a lot of dead cells, and dead cells require less energy. And they do not move. And since they do not move, they do not require much energy. So we must remember that compared to animals, plants require less energy. And why do they require less energy? And we said why they require less energy is because most of the cells are dead, and dead cells do not use energy. And they do not move. They prepare their own food, so they don't need to move. So because of this, because the plants require less energy, their transport system is a slow transport system. The transport system is much slower than humans. We humans have a very fast transport system, but plants can do with a slow transport system. Now last year you have learned the plant has got these two conducting tissues. The two conducting complex tissues. One is the xylem and the other is the phloem. The xylem carries water and minerals, while the phloem carries products of photosynthesis or food. We'll just quickly go to the construction of this also. So before we do the transport in plants, let us learn about the tissues that are involved in the transportation in plants. This last year you have learned. We have the xylem here. the xylem vessel, and in the xylem vessel, what does it transport? It transports water and minerals. This is what xylem transports, water and minerals. And there's another thing here, you must know that it's one-way traffic in xylem. In xylem, the material travels only upwards here. The water and minerals travel upwards. See how the cells, no end walls, the cells are placed one over the other. There's like a long tube here. Have you noticed? A long tube. This is a long tube, a continuous long tube, and the water can so easily flow through it. When it comes to phloem, the phloem carries food and other substances, other products of photosynthesis. It also transports some amino acids. See how the material, how the food travels, two-way. It's a two-way traffic. So some on the top and down in both the directions. And the cells have end walls with perforations. Means they got little holes here, little pores here, through which the material begins to flow. So we'll just summarize between the xylem and the phloem, the difference that we have learned. Here the traffic, or it carries water and minerals, while this carries food and amino acids. We will learn that more in detail, products of photosynthesis. Here the flow of water is just one way, and here we see the flow of water is either ways, both the ways. Okay, and this is usually, xylem is dead tissue. Most of it is dead and most of it is living, of the phloem. Here we'll see, which is not important from the textbook, from the exam point of view, but let's go to it. We learned it last year. What is a xylem made up of? The xylem is made up of four things. First, here you see these are the tracheids. See this? These are called the tracheids here, this cell. Okay, these are the tracheids. It is given here, tracheids. And then we have the vessels. These are broader, shorter, broader cells. They are called the vessels. These two cells help in carrying the water. So we have the vessels. We'll underline this here. Then we have the xylem parenchyma, which is this xylem parenchyma, this part. And then we have the xylem fibers. These are the xylem fibers. So we have here the xylem fibers. So the xylem is made up of three things. One is xylem parenchyma. Xylem parenchyma, the vessels, the tracheids, and the xylem fibers. Who helps in conduction are these two. These two help in conduction. And they are all dead cells. Only this is a living cell. This one is a living. The parenchyma is a living cell. All the others are dead cells. Now when we go to phloem, the phloem again is made up of, here we have the phloem parenchyma here. See, this is the phloem parenchyma. Then we have the sieve tubes, which are the most important cells. These are the sieve tubes here. Then we have the companion cells, and next to the companion cells we have the phloem fibers. Phloem is made up of four things. We have number one, I won't write them out, the phloem parenchyma. Number two, the companion cells. Number three, the phloem fibers. Number four, the sieve tubes. The ones that help in carrying the food is the sieve tubes. They're all living cells, except the fiber is dead cell. This is a dead cell. The phloem fiber are dead cells. Phloem fibers. So that was the structure of the phloem end of the xylem.